This is the Chemistry Extended Essay Experience video by Mr. M for Chem with the lovely Miss Kajal Manglani. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mr. M. Thank you for inviting me. So in this video, we are going to focus on extended essay. Often many higher and standard level students keep wondering, should we or should we not? So we just try to brief you about whether it is an extended essay involving a primary or a secondary data collection. You will be getting a general guidance on various aspects of the extended essay. What are the various possible topics across the world that students have used and how to basically go about it so that you get a decent grade, in fact, a very good grade in the chemistry extended essay in the future.
Brilliant. So that's what we're all after. Everyone wants the top grade. Every student does, and every teacher wants it for their students. Now, just to emphasize the scope of this video, we're not going to try to answer every question that could possibly asked about extended essay. It's a huge topic. So what we're going to not do, it's clear from the start, is we're not going to show you how to make a primary and secondary data extended essay directly. Okay, that sort of thing we will do in the next video. We are going to look at, look at exemplar spreadsheets, how you can do molecular modeling, and perhaps answer many interesting questions for extended essay. Mathematical models are fantastic. If you can link a spreadsheet and build a mathematical model into the spreadsheet to generate an answer that looks at your research question, that is a rich area of exploration. But again, we're not going to do that today. And we're not ever going to give specific research questions because we're just not allowed to do that. Right, Kajal?
Yes, absolutely. This is a general video which will be definitely helping the new teachers and all the students who want to just start the process about.
Beautiful. And of course, if you have any requests for future videos, please pop it into the comment box underneath. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, let's talk about the context of the extended essay in chemistry first of all. So why should we choose chemistry? Kajal, would you have chosen chemistry when you were a high school student?
Of course, it is my favorite. I'm passionate about it. So basically, whosoever is passionate must do chemistry extended essays.
Absolutely. And, I've been teaching many years, as you can tell by my absence of hairline, and it does tend to be the kids going for medicine or for the Oxfords and Stanfords of this world, and they want to have a beautiful thing to talk about, and it does precisely that. It gives you a wonderful hook for them to ask you questions about. So why not? Well,
sure.
Some people do look and say, well, the number one every year is history. So why is the number one extended essay in terms of popularity history? The answer is because more kids do history. Okay? Because chemistry is... Sorry, go on.
So, Mr. M, would you like to tell some statistical data to the audience so that they get to know?
Let's have a look at the grades first of all. This is from the 2017 examiner's report. You can see that more than a quarter of students got an A and a B. Does that mean that the very clever kids choose to do extended essay? No. Does it mean they were purely supervised by wonderful supervisors? Maybe, but perhaps it was a conflagration of the two. And perhaps one of the first things we'd like to emphasize is choose your supervisor wisely. Do you think, Miss Manglani?
Yes, definitely. That is one of the important aspects. Look at the data, like it is, even though it looks like scattered grades, if you can just go back to the grades for a moment.
Yep.
In the previous slide. So even if you look, it is more than 60% students are getting A, B, and C in chemistry. It's not like very less percentage. So there are quite a few high achievers in chemistry extended essays.
Which means it is possible, and I'm not sure if Ms. Manglani agrees with me. I didn't discuss this with her beforehand, but I think for the chemistry extended essay, if you take notice of the rubric and you hit the criteria as explicitly told to every student, and you address the word counts and you address the headings and you address the scientific notation, there's no reason why every student should get a C. What do you think, Miss?
Absolutely. I think you just hit it on the target, that understanding the criteria and basically just looking at the band which you are trying to focus to get, it is the success key. It is the key for the success.
Absolutely. Thank you, Miss. So this is the 2020 grade distribution, just taken from the statistical bulletin. We can see that individuals and societies here is on 41,000. Again, that's because more kids do individuals and societies. This is psychology and economics and history and those things. The sciences, you might think, well, that's only 13,000 students, but that's split between 3, and don't forget there's computer science, sports science as well, mixed into there, different areas. So it's actually quite a low number of kids, we could argue, but those kids are pretty successful. In case you're wondering, yes, were around 90,000 students-ish that took the IB in May 2020, which is kind of an average year. When I chucked into Google, as we all do, and I typed in chemistry, extended essay, these are the sort of things that popped up. We will all be familiar with the 50 wonderful extended essays, or 50 excellent extended essays, Kajal?
Yes, 50 great extended essays.
That's the one. So those were released, I think, in 2006, somewhere around. They are old extended.
5, 6.
Yes, so yeah, 5, 6. So that's a long time ago. I would not be particularly using those now. These questions were on a school website. There are many school websites on LibGuides where you can find. I just thought it'd be nice to show you some examples of research questions which other schools are doing. If we look and see what are the most common chemistry extended essay titles, at the top, as the same for internal assessment, we see some variation on vitamin C.
Yeah, vitamin C. Oh my God, we have been tired of looking at vitamin C percentage in IAs and EEs. I am sure everyone else also, all our examiners and moderators, they would agree on this.
They would miss wholeheartedly. I can hear a round of applause being echoed from the back row. Yes.
Yeah, another common one, of course, aspirin or luminol. Yeah, all these are the very, very common topics that we have been looking at. Biodiesel again, yes. So yeah, when you hit Google or when you just first think of, you will just think of these topics. But please, we would definitely not recommend to take any of these for extended essay, because the whole world around us is chemistry. So you just have to,
absolutely
open your mind and
open
your
the bathroom cabinet at home and look at the ingredients. Everything in there is beautifully laid out, rich for an extended essay. Okay.
Yeah.
I think in choosing, I always advise students, you should be enjoying it. It can be sincerely hard work if you are not enjoying the process or the action of doing the experiments. If you're sat there bored out of your skull, you've probably chosen the wrong research question, right, Miss?
Yes.
Absolutely.
And choosing a research question is again a process. It's like, don't feel that you have to go at the absolutely 100% right RQ at the beginning. It is definitely not the process.
No, the research question, a lot of students do get hooked on that thing, but it evolves over time.
Yes.
And as you gather data and you do experiments, that research question can change. It's not set in stone. It's very malleable. You can change it to reflect your data even on the last day. I mean, the IB don't know what it is.
Well, I won't say it changes. We can say it is more refined and get more focused as we go around the process. We go along the process.
Absolutely. So kinetics of enzymatic reactions, that comes up a lot. You can see them. I don't need to read them for you. They are popping up on the screen in front of you. The reason I include these is to raise a red flag or a note of caution that the extended essay is not extended internal assessment. Okay, the internal assessment tends to be, though not exclusively, based on the syllabus, whether it's standard or higher level, doesn't matter. It tends to be based on the syllabus. There will be some extension, I know. The extended essay must go beyond the syllabus. You must go beyond what you've been taught. We'll be talking more about that shortly. Okay, so there are some ideas which we're kind of encouraging you to stay away from.
The keyword that you all need to remember is the word research in the process of extended essay. That is what makes it different from your IA.
Absolutely. So here is a list of, I'm not going to count them, I'm going to guess 20 different topics. Let's have a look at a couple of these, Manglani, if this is okay with you.
Yeah.
Are there any
look at the one at polarimetry to investigate concentrations of sugars. Suppliers of sugar syrups who want to assess their products. Basically, there are sugar industries around the world, and there definitely some people would like to assess what is the quality or the concentration of the sugar syrups that we have. But again, it should not be like comparing the brands of different sugar syrup. So you have to be cautious here. So these are the general guidance on the topic titles, but these are not the RQs. So that
Absolutely.
is what is also highlighting the technique that you would like to use for your investigation and your research. So again, it is bringing in a wider context. If we are bringing in the industrial or manufacturer claim, or we are just trying to assess on specific parameters of the sugar syrups.
Excellent, thank you, Miss. So there are a number, these are actually recommended by websites. I'm not going to reference the website, but you can find it very easily. And in here, there are a number of things which I would steer well clear of. There are mentioned, some of these are required or prescribed practicals for internal assessment. Calcium carbonates of seashells. Okay, pretend just no. The colour of ketchup, I hesitate. There might be something in there, but I can't quite see it. Anything that strays into biology, you're not going to get any marks of biology. More of that shortly. There's vitamin C. Again, it's recommended by a number of websites. It's on every website. It's like, no, please stop it. Okay. Purification of ibuprofen. Purification, we know how pure the ibuprofen is. My background is pharmaceuticals. I used to work making ibuprofen tablets. It's printed on the box. Don't check stuff. Printed on the box. So is there any that we like in here, Miss Manglani? Any that you like?
Yeah, I would just like to add that you should never think of, purifying or testing the percentage of any pharmaceutical medicine or any product that is available in the market, because it has been definitely launched after a process of research. So that is not going to make a good extended essay at all.
Absolutely. The one that stuck, well, the two, there was Nobilis rings, which is strange colours seen during electrolysis. I thought that was potentially rich and could lead to a good exploration. What do you think?
Yes, definitely, because nobody would definitely think of those rings which are formed during the process, and it is going to, when you research about it, it could be it would be, first of all, in very beginning, it would be a struggle for you to find the different kind of articles based on the topic. So that's the whole thing, like you have to really research, and we are going to highlight some of the places where you can research.
And the other one, mainly because I'm in Singapore, was the level of chloramines found in swimming pool water affected by temperature. That was most of a personal interest, and I don't know if you know, chloramines come from people urinating in the pool and the urea reacting with the chlorine and making chloramine. So we'll move on swiftly. Miss Manglani.
Yeah, so we'll just take you to the different sources. So these are the sources we are hoping all the teachers are making you familiarize in advance before you get into the inquiry or research for your extended essay. So you all should be hitting on these sources at least few times before you actually jump onto your topic. And this is like the whole world of research articles, which is definitely going to help you. And there are some websites, in fact, some magazines, whether you talk about New Scientist or Nature or the Salters Advanced Chemistry, these are very beginning, and these are going to definitely give you beginning of what type of topic should I research, what should I actually write my essay about. So there can be some very good ideas on these magazines, as well as, of course, the two beautiful, our favorite, my favorite at least, and I'm sure Mr. M's favorite as well, RSC and American Chemical Society websites. And these are the places, like, they give you so much interesting information to connect the real world around us with chemistry, and they also beautifully explain the general principles and the strong chemical the deep chemical principles behind the real life context. And if you have seen compound chemistry, I'm sure some of your teachers have their posters in their classroom. Or
oh yes, we all know compound chemistry. Yes.
Yeah, that is one of my favorite. If you come in my class, you would definitely see some compound chem posters.
Well, that's what happened in the olden days. Like you would walk into the chemistry laboratory, there'll be a rack of magazines on the side, and there'll be Nature magazine and New Scientist, and the kid wants to do an extended essay. Have a read, see what's in there, and
I'm hoping that during the first semester of your grade 11, you're going through the various magazines, definitely. Because that's your starting point. That is your starting point. And like Journal of Chemical Education, even Indian Chemical Education print variety of journals and magazines, which can be accessed after the request is sent to the Indian Chemical Society. And there are a lot of good literature and good reading for those. Of course, many of you have your target universities in mind and your future careers. So that definitely forms a starting point as well. If you already have a topic in mind, if you want that, I want to go for biochemistry, or then you may think of an extended essay in biochemistry. Again, it is not pure chemistry, but you have to bring in a lot of chemistry for that. And you have to beautifully relate it, how your chemical understanding is connecting with the real
yes
world.
If you're using a chemical lens to describe the chemistry, then that's all good. Or to describe the biology, I should say. As long as you're using the chemistry to describe it, then you're ticking the box for extended essay. Thank you. And I would add to this, there's a few I share your enthusiasm for RSC and ACS, and I look at the Indian Chemical Society as well. That's a new one. Thank you. My current two favorites at the moment on this list are the Journal for Chemical Education, up here. And this is particularly university outreach programs looking to help schools, students access university-style research or academically styled project writing or report writing. I will get there. And it's just absolutely beautifully written for your audience, for a 18-year-old, 17-year-old standard high-level IB chemist, A-level chemist. It's looking at you are the target market. And my favorite one at the moment that came from them is the carbon quantum dots from lemon juice. And if that doesn't excite you, I don't know what will. So this is a green synthesis, which is just, right up our street, right? It must be. You're a teenager. Come on, save the planet. It's a bit late. We need to get you on this boat. Green synthesis of highly luminescent carbon quantum dots from lemon juice. And you just want to read on, and you find out you can heat it up, you can microwave it, you can analyze it by UV. You might or might not have a UV. There are apps on your phones which you can use to analyze these things. Come on, internet, be stable. And you can read through here, and you can research, and you can look at the bottom. We'll have all the references at the bottom. So, this is a great starting point, something like this that gets you excited, makes you want to know more. And you can use your chemistry that you've learned at school in a novel way. And I suggest that is a very healthy way to approach your chemistry extended essay. Of course, people that watch my channel will know that I'm a big fan of WebMo and Chem Compute for molecular modeling, playing with organic molecules in particular. I fancy myself as an organic chemist more than anything. And you can build some very complicated structures. Look at their energies, look at their angles, look at their molecular orbitals. MO theory is great. That just goes just beyond your understanding of electron distribution at higher level bonding. And again, we are extending beyond the syllabus, which is perfect fit, or can be, if done correctly, a perfect fit for chemistry extended essay.
Hello?
Okay.
Yes,
so I hope
I'm getting very much a big fan of WebMo, and especially in this time of pandemic when we are all working online.
Yeah.
These can be a very good WebMo and Chem Compute could definitely help you to write a chemistry extended essay without doing a primary data collection.
Yes, and let's be realistic. I mean, the IB advice is still currently, I looked just before this presentation, that they'd prefer to have a primary data extended essay, but hey ho, a lot of us are closed, so we can't do that. So a secondary data extended essay will perhaps be the next video topic, as I said at the opening to this session. So how should you approach a secondary data extended essay? This is copied straight from the guide. This is not Mr. M for Chem or Ms. Manglani. This is straight from the IB. Student must devise their own method to analyze the secondary data in a way that leads to a specific answer to their research question, which is standard words salad from an exam board. What does that help you? I'm not convinced. Okay, what does that mean? What does that actually mean? It's just like, what are you talking about? You've not even begun to help me about how I build a spreadsheet, how I build a molecular modeling, how I link the two together, how I devise two methods to answer the research. All of this stuff, that does not tell me. Maybe that's not its function where it is, but still, we can help. That's why we're here. So we have down here, I'm sure you're looking now at the lovely GIFs going on at the bottom. At the bottom, well done, students. That is asymmetric stretching of a H2O molecule. Why is it there? To keep you focused on rather than looking at my bald head. So what would you not do for a chemistry extended essay? I've seen a few over the last couple of years where students have read a magazine article, and it might be making scientific claims or spurious claims, and they're basically just restating the news article, adding a couple of other articles and saying that is not an extended essay. I've not seen that reach a high mark. Have you, Miss?
No, not at all.
No. Chemistry extended essay markers, they're quite, one-way street thinking. They want chemistry. They're not entirely enthusiastic, although they tolerate it, biology and physics. Don't just use the textbook. We all know that increasing concentration increases the rate of a chemical reaction. We don't need to see that. That's in every textbook. You should be doing something that at least complements the textbook, but in a new context, or going beyond the textbook is what I would be suggesting. Don't stick to the course syllabus. That goes in the previous one. And as I was saying in a couple of slides ago, don't rush your research question. Okay, it's not like I've got 3 weeks to get my research question. That's it. Now I must answer it and just go hell for leather answering the research. It's not like that. It's an evolution as a process. It's not just you're going to put a sign in the ground and run to it. It actually develops over time. Your school laboratory, regardless of how well you think it is equipped, is very well equipped to be very successful at chemistry extended essay. Any data logging stuff is brilliant, but if you don't have it, don't worry. Okay? You should have, if you've got the basic measuring equipment of burettes and pipettes and measuring cylinders and LMA flasks and all those stuff, volumetric flasks, there's nothing to stop you being highly successful at extended essay. It can, I know, and I will concede, if you've got a suite of vernier or other proprietary supplies are available, of sensors, they will give you practicals where you can, look at the influence of chain length on delta G or entropic values and all. And that's nice. It feels stuff is like internal assessment to me, but it could be built on to make a good extended essay. But it doesn't mean you're at any disadvantage that you don't have those things, in my humble opinion. What do you think, Miss?
Yes, of course. I mean, the different methods do complement each other.
Absolutely. And don't just use one method to test your research question. It's not enough. So thinking of my own experience, 1 or 2 years ago, where a student, she tested soil pH at different temperatures, and then she did some Ka calculations. But basically, it was just one method to test the research question, and it actually ended up quite a weak extended essay. Don't waste your word count discussing standard techniques. Your marker knows how to do a titration. They know how to measure volumes of gas. Okay, we don't need excessive. I took my burette and filled it to the 0 mark and got the meniscus, parallax, all that nonsense. We don't care. Well, we do care, but we assume that you know how to do it. Okay. So, first piece of advice.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are a lot of points that you need to remember. So first, another important one, we have said it is not your IA, so don't structure it like your traditional lab report. Please, it is not your lab report. And don't make it descriptive writing task. I did this and I did this and I did that, and that is what next I got. I saw this. This is not your extended, this is not your writing, your descriptive writing task. So you have to definitely make it a research-based extended essay. and which should involve different type of writing styles, if I can say. Like you can have some type of descriptive, but some narrative and argumentative is the most important one we would focus. And we have said it before, we do not want to see we do not suggest the students to compare brands of different tablets, tea, coffee, vitamin C, juices, syrups.
Or any of that, yes.
Or any of that, yeah. And don't submit your incomplete EE. Many of the students, sometimes they have to submit their drafts and they will just say, oh, I did my method, I have data, I did the graphs, and then submit to your teacher for your remarks. No, don't do that. Don't submit your incomplete or beyond the word limit extended essays. Don't copy paste images to discuss the mechanism of reactions. See, academic integrity places a very important role in the extended essay, and it is extremely important for you to use. There are various softwares which now help you to draw the structures, to write your own equations, and help you to use those actually.
It would be seen, I think, by a marker as being quite lazy very lazy. If you just copied and pasted images in and couldn't be bothered to do a few curly arrows and movements of electron pairs yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, we do expect you to be interested in what you're doing, and that's one of the criteria we'll come to shortly. So, general guidance for chemistry extended essay. You must, this is the IB. They care about reflection, they care about critical thought, they care about a student using a technique or a model or a theory and standing back and reflecting on it. Not being totally TOK about this, but you need to think about the knowledge that you're using and how you're using it. And that leads into a much deeper analysis and discussion. And we're looking, again, it's this journey idea going towards the target of a successful extended essay. Don't be fooled that sophistication will equal a wonderful grade A. I've had quite a few students who, during lockdowns, recently, have gone and used their friends or their families' contact at the local university, wherever they've been locked down in. They've got them to run some, nuclear magnetic resonance or some IR work. It's come back, they've put it in, they've barely understood what's happened. And of course, they expect it to be a high-flying, wonderful, because it could potentially be, but their level of understanding was not sufficient to actually interrogate it, because, of course, spectra in the real world don't look like spectra in the IB chemistry textbook. Okay, they're not neat lines and sharp peaks and integrals given of 3, 2, 1 for your protons. It doesn't happen like that. It kind of does. Yeah. It's a bit of an oversimplification. You're not expected to know that, so don't overstretch yourself. I think that's the point there. Look at the criteria. Address the criteria. Get a C. Thank you very much. Pass your IB. Don't fail. That's what we all want. There are checklists available. It's still, I always think students are digital natives, miss, and they were just ready to use Google beautifully. And then it still surprises me that they've not put into Google extended essay chemistry checklist .pdf or .doc and then gone, oh, and there must be dozens of examples out there that schools have created. Okay, so use it. Don't be scared to take a risk in what you're doing. In fact, your marker is going to love the fact that you've taken a risk. Why? Because they've just marked 6 extended essays about vitamin C and temperature. Criteria A. This is out of 6. We're going to look at the criteria individually now. So out of 6, what are we looking for? You will find on the IB support material ideas of poor research questions. I'm going to study the chlorination of swimming pools. Wide open, no one has a Scooby-Doo, what you're going to be doing. Okay. Clear, focused research question, which fits 4,000 words. Okay. It can be a statement question or hypothesis. It's okay to say, like TOK, to what extent is have the allotropes of carbon been answered? I'm excited already about that. I think I might do that myself. Chemistry should be beyond the syllabus. It should be challenging for you. It should read as having been challenging for you, but not overly challenging that it's just a PhD. It's not a PhD. We expect it to be a report of a 17, 18-year-old student, not a 25-year-old PhD student. You're probably going to be using a method that's been done before. Congratulations if you're not. But show how you have adapted it. Show that you tried the method and it didn't work, and you reflected that reflection word again. The methods didn't work at this point, so I tried A, B, and C. B worked beautifully, so that's how I continued. Okay. Don't get hooked up on, oh, it must be perfect, it must work. Show that you've reacted to problems and dealt with problems, hopefully successfully, as you journeyed through your extended essay. That's a really nice thing to put in.
So the criterion A is focus and method, as it says. So focus should be there definitely, and method, as Mr. M said, you have to definitely write how have you modified the method. You also must include what is the purpose of the extended essay. So when you are writing, you are trying to highlight it is a broader topic which is applicable in wider world, and it has a real life relevance. It has some strong application in chemistry, and you should be clearly writing about it. That is something which is important. We often just write, oh, I learned this topic in my class and I really found it interesting and I'm now decided to take an extended essay in chemistry. Well, why that topic was fascinating for you have to show some evidence. Basically, when you're justifying a topic, you also have to justify your method. It goes hand in hand, topic and method together. When you are citing, you have to also, if you look at the criterion A, it clearly emphasizes on the evaluation of sources there. You are using your YouTube videos. No, I mean, you shouldn't be hesitating in putting down, yes, I came across this YouTube video. Why not? Like, that gave you a curiosity. I mean, that gave you a point of starting. Just mention about it. But you may definitely, you will want to evaluate, like, how did I move from the YouTube video to a journal article, and then which one you found it more useful, which helped you to understand in-depth chemistry of that topic. So you must make sure you evaluate your resources. So when we are talking about the word evaluation, if you look, it is a command term. I'm sure you might have come across command terms in your DP classes so many times. So definitely it is an important point to remember. It will also help us to look at the criterion C. So you are expected to use secondary resources for your research. That is very clear, and it is expected that appropriate consideration of academic honesty is given. That means you have to use in-text citation for every source that you use. And some examples you will see next videos which we'll share, that will have some examples which clearly how the students write and how they cite their resources that they use.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Miss. And I will just add a little anecdote here. We did have a student last year, who shall remain nameless, who didn't properly cite a section of text. It was not in a science subject, it was in a different one, but it doesn't matter. It was picked up by the teacher and they were asked to put the reference in when it was the first draft. They failed to do that. It was submitted. The IB picked it up and that student had no diploma. So they actually prevented that student from having the diploma because it was an absence of academic integrity. And the student, there was no intention to cheat or to plagiarize. That was certainly completely absent. If you met the student, you'd be like, wow, it's the most lovely person you've ever met. But no diploma. So don't think for a second you're going to get away with it. You're not.
Yeah.
B, knowledge and understanding. So the last one was 6 points. You should be getting at least 4 in there. 5, no reason why 6. 4 or 5. You should get 4 or 5 in there. Knowledge and understanding. For me, this is, does the student care? Do you care enough to do things correctly? Is your chemistry correct? Check the veracity of what you are saying with your this is where the supervisor comes in massively. Okay. All too often we see chemistry which is just fundamentally incorrect, which does not help you get a good grade. Reflection, as we've been saying, the IB love their reflection, but not just on the techniques, the methodology that you're doing, but also on the apparatus choices. Why did you choose that variable? Why did you choose that piece of kit? Were you limited by what was there? Could you have used something more precise or more sophisticated to answer your research question? Referencing. I can't say it enough. Okay, it's a thing that students often fall down on. SI units. We don't want to see furlongs or Fahrenheit or atmospheres or ML. That
ML.
one. See the anger on our faces now. Look, Miss Manglani, exactly the same. There we go. Milliliters are for, are for cooking. Use that for your cooking of pancakes, not for your chemistry extended essay. Chemical nomenclature.
It is a science extended essay.
Yes. And if you can't be bothered to do subscripts and superscripts, I suggest you do a different extended essay than chemistry. Okay? This is the agreed IUPAC system of nomenclature that all the beardy weirdies meet up every year and decide that's how we are going to do it. It's not just you, it's everybody. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world, we understand. And if you can't be bothered to put the number of super or subscript, you're in the wrong business. Yes.
Yeah. So criteria B is the easiest to score. And definitely you can get 6 on 6 here. You just have to use, again, the command term. I would say explain is the word here, not write or state or describe. So definitely you need to explain whatever reactions are involved, whatever mechanisms are involved, whichever formula you are using. Like if you are drawing a structure, you shouldn't be, as we said, citation. Of course, we have purposely put it on all the slides so you can definitely understand that it is the most important part. See, you have to take the ownership. We all have to take the ownership of our work. So you also have to give the credit to whosoever's words you are using. And now I would just suggest mole view, which is my favorite again. Mole view to draw to draw the chemical structure. Just use it for when you're expressing the structures and explaining those structures. There are 2D, 3D, all designs available. Just create your own.
Yeah, Molview is there, ChemDraw is there. I'm sure if you just Googled molecular modeling, there would be a dozen out there ready for you to use.
So these are some tools which definitely help you to achieve the highest grade. So when you are explaining and when you are supporting it with the drawings, diagrams, equations, structures, they are definitely going to help you move ahead in that band.
Absolutely. And I think we should have a drum roll for the next criteria, Miss. Do you think? Do you have a drum roll? I'll put one in when I edit it. So this is the big one. This is the huge one. This is 12 marks. It's a monster criteria. Yeah. And it's
everybody hates it or
everybody hates
like it.
It's the biggest one. Okay. You must, I think Jeff News has got it on his website. There's a quote. It's not by him, it's by somebody else. And the quote is, a chemist without mathematics is severely disabled from actually accessing most of chemistry. So you must show a good thorough and a quite high level grasp of mathematical transformation. It's not enough to do addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, means. It's not enough. It needs to be more. Okay. Statistics, we probably would encourage the use of them. We don't encourage them much in internal assessment but this is not an internal assessment. Internal assessment has a low amount of data. So standard deviation and Spearman rank and all that stuff does not relate. It's not applicable to the low data set. But in extended essay, this is over a number of months. You will be collecting a whole lot of data. So statistics, if I can say that, actually come to the fore. Processing of data and clear data tables and analysis of the tables, discussion of the tables, reflection on the tables. That was a big noise there, but that wasn't me. The analysis of those would lead to the conclusion. And the conclusion, you should be talking about any process data tables that you've got, talking about any graphs that you have made, and they should be enhancing the argument. I suggest that the key word on this whole slide is arguments, and you're developing the arguments that will support or maybe not support your research question. Again, TOK is okay. To what extent are quantum lemon drops able to be assessed using a high school laboratory? Again, I'm excited already. Uncertainties do not go away. If you look on my channel, and other channels are available, there are a thorough discussion of how to do and propagate your uncertainties on graphs. If you don't want to do them, don't expect a good mark in critical thinking. And as I said, it is about the argument that you're developing and the journey that you develop over time. So please be reflective about the quality of what the sources that you're using, whether you think and why you think they actually help you develop your argument.
Thank you, Mr. M, for giving all the important keywords for critical thinking. Definitely, it goes beyond the analysis and evaluation IA criteria. And definitely, it is an important criteria, and which is what examiners look in different sections of your extended essays. It is not okay, it is the data table and the graphs and the mathematics done, that is only part which is looked at. No, it is looked in the entire essay. The evidence for critical thinking is available for examiners in good extended essay which get highly graded. They definitely look through all the different in the introduction, methodology, analysis, evaluation, referencing. Every section of extended essay is looked at. I have just put up some questions which gives you a small point to think from each particular section. Like when you're talking about evaluation of sources, so you should write about why a particular source was used to a greater extent, or which particular source was better. How did you decided that? You say, okay, I have used this article, but how did you decide it? Did you actually read 5 or 6 similar articles or something else? Or what exactly made you decide that? Is there an evidence in your writing? Very briefly, but is it there? Or which particular method was chosen and why? As Mr. M said before, only one method is not going to help you. It is your extended essay. So you have to use different methods and techniques, and the comparison of different sources that should be clearly indicated. Like, for example, a journal article used in IR spectra, but I'm using I'm not having IR spectrometer. Or let's say if there is a technique available which is in a given research paper, but can UV visible spectroscopy help me to analyze a part of it? So how did I modify that technique? Or how did I decided to use a particular technique which can interpret the data that is being collected for addressing a particular RQ? So you need to be very clearly writing about those. Of course, graphical analysis and supporting argument, but as Mr. M said, statistics is required here. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Miss. Sorry, I just pressed the wrong button there. Don't worry about it. Normal service will resume shortly. Yeah, so absolutely. And like I said, these errors, they don't go away. Okay, there's no point sticking your head in the sand. They will come back and bite you. D, 4 marks, 4 juicy marks. How could you let this go, Miss? How could you let it go? What do you have to do?
Sad.
It's just
but sadly, many students actually
they do
lose marks here.
And that's all you have to do. Right? You are intelligent human beings. I'm not going to read it out, but I will emphasize it's the IA is 10 hours. There's no 12 pages. Okay, there's no word count on the IA. In the EE, it's 4,000 words in about 40 hours. Okay, so it doesn't matter about the pages, and maybe one day they will align these two things. There's a different criteria for a similar sort of output. I don't know about you, but yeah. So just do it. Just do it. You've got 4 marks. I don't know why anybody would throw this golden opportunity away for 4 marks, Miss.
Yeah, just few points that you need to remember. Simple ones. Your title and RQ should be indicated clearly, and your title is not a question and your question is not a statement. So these are the 2 different things that examiners do see. It is a part of presentation criteria. And bibliography, arrange it in alphabetical order. Simple tips, but often forgotten.
Very worth mentioning, Miss. Absolutely. And then finally, your engagement in the process, which is done by, you and I both know it, by your beautiful RPPF. Miss Manglani.
Yes. So RPPF, so the reflection in the extended essay is a process reflection. So there are 3 reflections. I would just very briefly say 1 point about each. Your first reflection is about your how did and why did you choose a topic, and what is the next step that you're going to follow for your method. Your second reflection is basically, so there are a list of suggested questions that you see in this document, which would be available underneath the video that you are listening at the moment. And interim reflection is your reflection about what were the strengths and weaknesses and what were the challenges that you came across. And what are the I recommend my students, you think of few places where you were stuck in your process and reflect on those. How did you overcome those challenges? It should be a part of your interim reflection. And of course, how did you plan to move ahead in the writing process? Most of the students forget to talk about writing process in the interim reflection. And final, of course, again, it is not a general personal reflection. Don't say that I did not finish my essay on time. I did not collect enough data. This is not that. It is beyond much more of a personal reflection. It is the final thing about how did you arrive at your answer of the research question. And in the conclusion, you need to talk about what exactly you learned over the whole process. When I say learned, it is not the general thing. Again, these are the specific skills in the technique that you used. What were the evidences throughout the process that you have developed as a learner? So that there should be some points about the skills, about the techniques, and everything, summing it up. At the end, you have to include all the aspects that you have utilized in the 40 hours of your work.
Beautifully put, Miss. Couldn't have put it better myself. Thank you very much indeed. And the key words that we've been saying throughout this, I'd say number one was arguments, developing the arguments. Number two was reflection. And I put maybe number three, enjoyment. I think I can put a sense of joy in there at number three. Miss Manglani, what do you think?
It is, for me, it is number one, Mr. M. My passion and my enjoyment is the first thing. I'm interested in spending hours in the lab doing the experiments and collect the data. And so my passion and enjoyment is the first thing for me.
And let's not forget, often these things kind of take a life of their own and go on much, much longer than we anticipated, both for a teacher and the students. So be reflective. Be reflective throughout. We don't want you sat in the corner meditating on the sunbeams and focusing on your breath, although that's a good thing to do. We want you to be talking in there about your method and your apparatus and the journey that you've taken. I forgot the word journey. I should have put that one in there. Okay.
Yeah, journey. Yes, it is a journey, which is actually going to be remembered forever of your, all the years of your university. You would be thanking your supervisors and yourself for making you understand the whole process of writing. It is one extended essay in IB, but in your university, every semester will be an extended essay. Remember that.
Absolutely. And those students going on to science degrees, congratulations. Do chemistry. That's what we're all about here. And keep going with your... I'm not going to make a huge deal about this slide. I think I've said all I need to say about academic honesty during the video. It was in the trailer, so please have a look there. We do take it very seriously. Don't let that one flaw what you could produce as a fantastic, fantastic piece of work. Yes. Okay, guys, we're going to wrap up here. I would like to express my deepest gratitude sincerely to Miss Manglani for joining me for this session this evening. We're all in this together. And I think this is a beautiful example of what the IB should be about, which is collaborative, learning together, working together to get the best outcome for the students. So thank you very much indeed, Miss.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It was a wonderful, wonderful session. I have been watching all the videos and I'm sure all the students and teachers are going to get great benefit from this introduction. Thank you.
Beautiful. So more to come. Keep an eye on this channel. Don't forget, smash that subscribe button. Have a great day. Thank you very much indeed for listening. Thank you.